All right, so, usually when we talk about bonds, we have to look at the actual data, okay? So this is from the Financial Times. I'm not sure if you can see it, even if you're not a subscriber, right? But you can find this information everywhere. So these are the nominal returns on 10-year government bonds, okay? And, this year has been crazy, right? Because here we even have negative numbers. So basically you're paying the government to hold these bonds. Okay? But so what's shocking here, well, let's look at this now, right? Australia, 0.94, Austria, minus 0.36%, Denmark, minus 0.39, Greece, 0.91%. Then what can we say? Sweden, we don't have the Swedish person today, Swedish here today, 0.04%. US, 0.92%. So isn't that crazy that Greece has lower interest rate than the US and then Australia? Why is that? Well, forget about Greece now. Let's think about Germany, which is this negative return. So let's compare Germany and the US. Why on earth would people buy the German bonds? They literally have to lose money to hold them. Whereas if you hold the government bond for the US, in 10 years, you make a very small, less than 1% return. But if you actually have the government bond in Germany, you lose money. Why would you do that? Why would you buy the government bond from Germany? What does this imply for exchange rates? Now, what we saw before is something that's called the covered interest parity, because there's no risks involved in that transaction. But you don't have to actually cover yourself from the exchange rate risk. You can actually bear the exchange rate risk. In other words, you could do the following exchange. You could say, okay, I have $1 today, so panel A for people on Zoom. That $1 today can be invested in dollar deposits, as always. But then we can also sell dollars for euros, get the euro deposit. But then I'm not gonna convert those euro returns on euro deposits back into dollars using a forward contract. I'm gonna use the expected value of the exchange rate. Okay? And so that's something that we call an uncovered interest parity, because you're not covering yourself from the risk, the exchange rate risk. Okay? So what can we do with this equation? Well, for instance, you could think, we're going to use it to predict exchange rate movements. So for today, you can use it to basically predict what the market expects the exchange rate will be. If you think, as we saw before, that the dollar is, as we saw in the data actually, that the dollar is a higher return relative to the German bond, that means that the market expects the euro to appreciate. Okay? Not only the forward contract are predicting an appreciation or are appreciated relative to today's spot rates, but the market actually expects the euro to appreciate. Okay? This equation here that we're seeing is a useful approximation for the uncovered interest parity. You can actually derive it from solving out this equation and making some simplifications regarding what's small and what's not. Doesn't really matter. What matters is that we can make this simplification that we're going to use, whereby the interest rate on dollar deposits, that's 0.92 that we saw in the data, equals the interest rate on the German deposit minus 0.52% plus the expected depreciation of the dollar, which makes sure that the two things are equal. Okay, so basically we could say that the market is expecting the dollar to depreciate by 1.4 something percent.